What's up, brothers? Hope everyone's doing well out there. It's a nice, chill, sunny evening, so I figured I'd turn the camera on and come out here and shoot the shit with you guys for a little while. And what I want to talk about in tonight's video is a subject that I think a lot of you guys are going to find relatable. The overwhelming majority of guys out there, when they approach a relationship or when they begin talking to a woman, they get a feeling that goes through them, that the woman has a certain power over them, or a certain dominance over them. Guys don't want to admit this, but it's true. And they're not sure where this comes from, or what it is, or how to get rid of it. Well, I'm going to explain to you what it is and how to get rid of it. It comes from the fact that you know, and she knows, that she can walk, she can ghost, she can dust your dumb ass at any given moment, and she can replace you like that. And there's levels to it. If you're an average guy, she can replace you with an average guy. If you're a giga chad, she can replace you with a giga chad. If you're a millionaire, she can replace you with a millionaire. And that's intersexual dynamics. Okay, that's just how it works. Maybe 1% of men have that same ability out there in the dating market, but damn near 90% of women have that ability in the dating market. And when you got it like that, yeah, you can walk, you can ghost, you can replace. So a lot of men, subconsciously knowing this, not thinking it through all the way, it's not in the front of your mind, but somewhere in the back, you understand that that's true. This makes you walk on eggshells. This gives you a mindset like you're just, you're hoping that you can get one more date. You're hoping that you can extend the interaction a little bit longer before she slips away. You're hoping you can keep the fish on the hook just for a little while longer. But you feel like eventually she's going to pull away anyways. It's like some abandonment issue that you have. Damn near every man has this. This is just what intersexual dynamics have turned into. And that feeling is not going to subside until she relinquishes that power. And this is the silver lining. Every woman out there wants to relinquish that power. She wants that dynamic to flip. She wants it the other way around. Okay? She wants to be the one that's sitting at home afraid that you're going to leave her ass. Okay? She wants to stay up at night all sad, crying. They like to do this shit. She wants to be afraid that you're going to dump her ass for some other chick. It's strange. Female psychology is strange. But they like that shit. And she wants to relinquish that power and give it to you and flip it around. And once it's flipped around, it's flipped around. You're officially the man of the house. You're the head of the house. Right? And you can still treat her good. You don't have to cheat on her. You don't even have to be an asshole. But she has to know that you're in charge and that you're the head of the house. Most men out there, when they're still in the mindset we're talking about in the beginning, they're unable to make that happen, right? Women have this tendency to emasculate alpha men and turn them into cowards. And they're so terrified that she's going to pull back that they go with the flow. They change who they are. She's not going to relinquish that power until you look her dead in the eye and say, I ain't changing shit. And, I know the pickup artist types, they'll tell you to create conflict and create turmoil. Create it on your own. You can do that if you want. But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really recommend it. Because conflict will arise no matter what. And especially early on in a talking phase of a relationship, a woman's going to pick at you. She's going to nitpick a little bit and try to change you. I don't know if she does it on purpose to shit test you, or if she's just doing it because it's just the way they are. Okay, but she might attack your vices or something. You know, maybe you smoke cigars, or maybe it's a hobby you have, like the gym, something like that. You know, she says, I don't want you smoking cigars anymore. That's nasty. Or, I don't want you going to the gym every day. You spend too much time there. You got to look her dead in the eyes and say, you don't have to be rude about it, but in some way, shape, or form, you have to tell her, look, if you want to be with me, you got to deal with the fact that I smoke cigars. If you want to be with me, you got to deal with the fact that I'm a gym rat. It's just who I am. And just that little bit of conflict, that tiny bit of you standing up for yourself and showing some leadership, some authoritative behavior, and literally letting her know you can fucking leave. Cigars stay. You can leave. Gym stays. That gives her that emotional turmoil. You know, she probably, when you have these type of conflicts and you stand up for yourself, she probably will pull back. I mean, if she has a real high level of interest in you, she won't pull back. But if she has a medium level of interest in you, she'll probably pull back. But when you let her go and just literally don't give a shit, 9 times out of 10, she will come back. And when she comes back, she will relinquish that power. Okay, she'll flip it, and you can see it. You can tell when the power has shifted. This dynamic has shifted. And you are now the alpha of the relationship. You're the head of the relationship, and she wants you to be that. You know, because she left, she felt the pain of her walking, throwing a tantrum, trying to manipulate you, trying to work magic on you, and you standing up for yourself and saying, fucking kick rocks. That hurt her feelings. But sadness is just as addictive as love, as excitement. It's all the same. You know, when you're sad about something, your mind will gravitate towards that thought. You know, when a woman is sad about you, she's going to think about you all the time. And it's going to, you know, you're going to occupy her mind a lot. And she's going to feel these, you know, emotions going through her. Estrogen is a bizarre emotion. It's a bizarre hormone because people with high estrogen, even some dudes could have high estrogen because they're off balance. When people have high estrogen, they become addicted to sad emotions. It's very strange, but they like to sit around and sulk and be sad about things, right? So nonetheless, right? This type of conflict and you standing up for yourself is exactly what's going to get that power to shift and get her to see you in a different light. You know, so this is something that bad boys, players, assholes, guys like this, they're maybe not aware, but instinctively aware. They know that when a woman is creating conflict or drama, or, you know, pulling back, or something like that's going on, they almost view it as something like, okay, game on. Game on, lady, let's do it. Oh yeah, you think you're tough? You think you're emotionally resilient here? I'm gonna stand my ground. I ain't changing shit. You're the one that's gonna be sad. You're the one that's gonna be crying. But you'll come back. I'm gonna be just fine. Cigars, working out, we're doing whatever I want to do, right? But as a man, you kind of have to understand this. And you have to get over that hump. How many of you guys have met a girl on a dating app or a friend of a friend, or you've got the phone number, you started talking. Maybe you got a date or two, maybe you even had sex a couple times. Maybe you were just texting, never really escalated to anything, but you kind of liked her and you had a high level of attraction to her. And everything was normal. You were talking to her and, she was nice, you were nice. She started pulling back and you're upset about it, you're sad about it, you're walking on eggshells, you don't want to rock the boat, and she's gone. And even worse, if she lives in a local area, you see her running around with some other guy, and he's a scumbag, a shithead. He's an asshole, and he's getting this emotional reaction out of her. He's getting her excited. That sucks, right? But you got to get over that hump. You have to. Even when you're texting a woman, it's not always about sadness. It's not always about anger. There's a wide range of emotions that you can use here. Even something as simple as, you want to go out and grab a drink tonight? That's not exciting. She might say yes, but that's not exciting. Okay? I haven't had a drink in 11 months, but back when I used to drink, and when I was single, and when I was going out and having a good time, it's not that I was testing text messages and trying to figure out which ones worked and which ones didn't, but I quickly realized which ones worked and which ones didn't. A text message like do you want to go out and grab a drink later? They might say yes, but again, that's not exciting. But if you send a text message like telling her you want to take shots off of her body or something like that, just something simple. Women, especially if they're girls that like to drink, they're going to respond excited to that, like emojis and going crazy. Hell yeah, that sounds like fun. Because you're alluding towards, it's like a bad boy, a sexual, fun type of behavior. You know what I mean? So that's just one way of doing it. And, there's really plenty of ways. But I'd say the number one most effective way is just standing up for yourself and standing your ground. It's like 90% of getting a woman excited and, having these productive kinds of conflict, like 90% of your success is just going to come from standing up for yourself. Women are attracted to men that stand up for themselves. And for some reason, that's like the number one quality that men lose when they're talking to a woman that they're attracted to. It's really just this really simple fix that they don't even see, they're not even aware of. And they spend all of this time trying to learn female nature and intersexual dynamics and all of these different subjects related to dating and relationships, when they don't realize that if they would just stand up for themselves, because you know who you are, you have something about you that's authentic, that's original. You have good things about yourself and bad things about yourself. But when you stand on your own square, like you are who you are and you accept that, and you're not really going to change for anyone, that's admirable. That's exciting in and of itself. Those are the type of genetics that a woman would want her son to have. Think about that for a second. And essentially, what we've talked about in this video, we could chalk that off to somewhat of a lesson on masculine frame, but more than that, it's also about intersexual dynamics and pulling emotions out of women. Because you kind of have to understand, if you're not pulling emotions out of her, she's bored. And she will dust your ass. You can pretty much count on that. But yeah, like I said, welcome those conflicts. Don't fight, don't argue. Just look her dead in the eye and say, I ain't changing shit. The cigars, they're staying, right? And I don't smoke cigars myself, but just as we finish this one off and sail into the sunset, land the plane or whatever you want to call it. The interesting thing about cigars is damn near every woman out there is disgusted by cigar smoking. They don't like it. They think it's a disgusting habit. They don't like the smell of it. They don't like kissing a man who tastes like a cigar. They're disgusted by it. But I don't really know of any cigar smoking men that struggle with women. Now, why would that be true? When they do something, when they have a vice that women are disgusted by, yet they're magnetic to women, how does that make sense? And it makes sense because women will overlook the fact that they're disgusted by something if they deem you as somebody that's worth staying with, even though they're disgusted by you. So it's one of those things like they're breaking their own rules for you because their genuine desire for you is so high. You know, it's an interesting deal. But yeah, women have to make that sacrifice and relinquish that power to you. And this is what they do. And in order to help you understand this a little bit more as we close this one out, if you've been in a position where you were dating a woman and you were putting a lot of effort into it, you were really trying to make things work out with her, and some other guy that seems to put no effort into it, you might even be better looking than him and make more money than him, and like on paper you're way better than him, and she's running around doing all of these things with him, like all of these affectionate things or sexual things with him that you wanted her to do with you, and now you put all this effort into it and he just got it like that, and you see it happening, and that's why you didn't stand your ground and allow her to relinquish that power over to you and flip that dynamic around. And she was craving that so bad that she went and got with a scumbag, an asshole, just because that's the one thing he's good at. Being an asshole, flipping the script, standing his ground, not changing for anyone. Happens all the time. Now, here is the final thing I'm going to say. I swear eventually we're going to shut this one off. A lot of times I make videos like the one, Why Women Love Scumbags, right? Or we make videos that kind of have a very dark undertone to them. They're almost, I don't want to say blackpilling, but, it's just kind of, I don't know, just seems almost negative. Well, here's what you have to understand. Here's why I do that. When corrupt men are aware of good men, they take advantage of them. And the corrupt men are very aware of good men, and they are taking advantage of you. But when good men are aware of corrupt men, they typically defeat them. They put them out of business, right? So when we talk about subjects of corruption, of, scumbags and being a bad dude to get women, that's what we're talking about. We want the good men to rise up and have equal to or greater than success levels of the shitheads, of the bad guys. So that's essentially what it comes down to. All right, guys. Suppose I've rambled on enough, and no need to really go on anymore, but I hope this video was somewhat informative. And that's about it for today, guys. Until next time, see ya.
Subscribe to the channel.